the hardest things that many of us have to deal with when we start a family is our prayer life. Usually when we have a baby, any resemblance that we have to any sort of prayer life is completely shot. There's no waking up in the middle of the night to go to the chapel. There's no, getting up early in the morning, setting a cup of coffee down and, going through your Bible. There's no taking notes during the homily or even paying attention really to the readings at Mass. And it's embarrassing and it's heartbreaking. And, we think like, is this going to be my life? Am I ever going to get my prayer life back? Am I ever going to pay attention to another homily again? Will my prayer life ever go back to what it was before? And I think the short answer is that no, it's probably not going to go back to looking exactly like it was before. I think one of the worst things that we can do is to get stuck on that, because the guilt is very real and the guilt is very heavy. When we get stuck on that guilt, we can't move forward in our relationship with God. We can't actually move forward with our prayer in the way that God is calling us to move forward. And that's okay. It's okay that it's not the same. It's okay that it's difficult. It's okay that you aren't able to sit down with your Bible and your journal and pray in the same way. God brought you to this place in life as your vocation, and your vocation is what brings you to heaven. And God knew that your prayer life, this was going to happen. He knew what was going to happen, and so He intends to bring you through it. So forgive yourself and then move on. The first thing that we need to do is to just admit that the old way that we had of doing things is probably for the most of us not going to work anymore. Especially in those first few months when you're not really getting much sleep, and you're tired, you're exhausted, and just moving on from there. Mass is not ever going to look the same for you ever again. Like even when you're getting sleep again, you're gonna have a crazy toddler or rambunctious children to make sure that you miss the main point in that homily. You've got no idea what the gospel was about. Mass is not going to look the same for you. And just kind of admitting that, and we move on. We need to come up with something different that we can do, come up with something that does work. So maybe for you that means praying a rosary while you do the dishes. Maybe that means getting a short devotional with short prayers that you can read while you nurse. Maybe that means reading the readings in the car on the way to Mass. Whatever that you need to do to have a relationship with God, to kind of keep that going, do that thing. Pick one thing, and start small and start slow. It's hard having babies. It's hard having kids. And our prayer life does not look the same, but God does not intend to abandon us in this time. I remember when I first had my first daughter, kind of mourning the loss of my prayer life and feeling so guilty, and I remember praying, God, I miss seeking you and I miss finding you. And He spoke back to me and was like, you know what, Jennifer, you're not the one that pursues me. I'm the one that pursues you. Remember that God made parenthood your vocation, and He intends to make you holy through it, and He intends to bring you to eternity through it. God bless. See you next time on Beyond the Pew.